Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise and get straight to the insights that actually matter. This past weekend, college football gave us what was, probably the most hyped week one in recent memory. We had three top 10 matchups, and you know what? It absolutely delivered. So we've taken your stack of sources, game recaps, those preseason predictions, expert analyses, and our mission today is to unpack the really crucial stuff, the aha moments, and figure out what all this week one drama means for the season ahead.
That's exactly right. This wasn't just like a normal opening weekend. It felt almost like a seismic event.
Yeah.
A huge reset for so many expectations we all had. It really showcased the volatility, the excitement of the sport right from game one. The whole landscape just shifted. And the biggest shift, undeniably the biggest story. Let's unpack this one. The #1 ranked Texas Longhorns, led by Arch Manning, the #1 recruit from 22, preseason Heisman favorite, 5-1 odds. They go up against the defending champs, #3 Ohio State at the Horseshoe. Manning's first start as the guy. Over 100,000 fans. I mean, the pressure. Given all that, what did the sources say about the weight on his shoulders? Oh, the sources really hammered that home. I mean, the burden was almost impossible, right? He'd only thrown, 95 passes total in his first 2 years behind Ewers. So this was his true baptism by fire. First start, defending champs, hostile crowd. The whole world watch it. That's tough for anyone, let alone a guy with so few real game reps. And let's not forget, Ohio State's defense is loaded. You got Caleb Downs back there, Jeremiah Smith, who had some drops, but still a huge factor.
And the result. A pretty stunning 14-7 loss for Texas. But it's more than just the loss, isn't it? This was historic. Texas became the first preseason #1 team to lose its opener in 35 years, since Miami in 1990. And they scored fewer points than almost any other preseason #1 ever has in week one. So is this all on Manning, or does this point to maybe deeper issues for Texas right away?
Well, it's rarely just one thing, But Manning's performance definitely reflected that pressure. Completed just 17 of 30 passes, 170 yards, a TD, but also that interception. And what's really telling is that 65 of those yards came super late on the second to last drive, so for most of the game. He struggled. The sources were pretty blunt. He got outplayed by Ohio State's sophomore, Julian Saint. Saint was efficient, 126 yards at TD, 65% completion. And the market reaction, brutal. Manning's Heisman odds just tanked. Went from 5-1 favorite down to 13-1. Just like that, it shows how fragile those preseason stories are. One game and the whole narrative flips. He's now behind Nussmeier from LSU, Klubnik from Clemson. Even Jeremiah Smith at OSU is tied with him now.
Wow. And beyond Manning, you mentioned Texas stalled out deep in the red zone twice, turnover on downs at the 1-yard line, then missing on 4th and 3 from the 9. That's just killer. Was that play calling? Lack of faith? Or did Ohio State's defense just absolutely dominate them?
It felt like a mix, but OSU's defense, man, they deserve massive credit. They gave Arch Manning fits all afternoon, just constantly, statistically, total domination. Held Texas to 336 total yards. OSU only had 203. But look at rushing. Texas only 77 yards. Ohio State ran for 166. That defense was the backbone, forcing 4 drives to end on turnovers on downs. Huge. And saying for OSU, he just played tough, smart football. Didn't make big mistakes. Jeremiah Smith had those 2 drops, which is weird because he only had 2 all last season. But his teammate Carnell Tate was phenomenal. So for Texas, it wasn't just Manning. The whole unit kind of struggled against an elite defense in those key moments.
Okay, so after all that, Coach Sarkisian said, the growth throughout the game for Arch was encouraging and the team will be fine. Is that just coach speak trying to manage things, or is there maybe a real silver lining there? They do have 11 games left, some winnable ones coming up before Florida.
It's probably a bit of both, right? Sarkisian has to project confidence. But there might be some truth there. That Ohio State D, it might genuinely be the toughest one Texas sees all year. So if Manning did show even small bits of growth against that defense, maybe there's potential. The real test is how they respond now. Those next few games, do they fix the red zone stuff? Do receivers step up? It's not just bouncing back, it's showing they actually learned from this really tough opener.
All right, let's shift gears, because Texas wasn't the only big name feeling the heat in week one. We had another major shockwave, Florida State stunning Alabama. And this one, some folks actually saw coming. Sports Illustrated, Lee Corso, they called it. FSU was, 210 last year? Okay, they had good seasons before that, but still, Alabama coming off a rough offensive year. What made this upset with FSU as a 12, 14-point underdog so impactful?
Well, what's fascinating is just how decisively FSU won, 31-17. Stunning 8th-ranked Bama. It's not just an upset, it's kind of proof of how fast things can change with good coaching and tactics. Coach Norvell's energy was, you could almost feel it through the screen. And Gus Malzahn, the OC, his game plan, using all that jet motion, speed motion, The sources praised how it just took apart that Alabama defense. They went with speed and scheme over just, brute force. It worked. And their QB, Thomas Castellanos, who actually beat FSU last year when he was at BC, funny enough, he looked great, reinvigorated, showed off his arm. FSU's speed, their athleticism, it was just obvious. They out-schemed and outplayed him.
So on the Bama side, how did they let that happen? Ty Simpson was making his first start, sure, but what else went wrong?
Yeah, Simpson definitely had a rough day. 1 for 10 when pressured. Oof. And he faced pressure on over 31% of his dropbacks. That's a lot. But it wasn't just him. The offensive line, they got pushed around, out-physicaled. And penalties again for Alabama, 8 for 70 yards. That stuff adds up. Plus, Coach DeBoer's comments after the game seemed like he was kind of calling out Simpson. That drew a lot of criticism, especially when you compare, this was DeBoer's 4th loss to an unranked team in just 14 games. Saban had 4 in 17 seasons.
Yeah.
That comparison is going to stick. Raises questions about the transition, And FSU's new 3-3-5 defense under Tony White, that put more speed on the field, too. Definitely it helped disrupt Alabama.
Okay, speaking of top 10 games, let's hit the battle of the real Death Valley. Number 9, LSU versus number 4, Clemson. Clemson's Cade Klubnik, another preseason Heisman hopeful. LSU had lost 5 straight openers. This felt big. What's the story here with LSU breaking that streak, winning 17-10?
Yeah, LSU absolutely broke that streak. Sources said Brian Kelly treated this like it was the Super Bowl, and their defense, wow, phenomenal. They just blanketed Clemson's receivers. They really got after Klubnik, forced that bad interception, blitzed him constantly. 56% of his dropbacks, they sent pressure. That just disrupts everything. Relentless. Offensively, Garrett Nussmeier showed some real toughness, and their receivers. Some called it a basketball team on grass. Guys like Trey'Dez Green, Aaron Anderson, Barry Brown. Versatile. And Cannon Durham ran hard, too. Gave him some balance.
So, was it just LSU being that good? Or did Clemson's run game basically disappearing make LSU's job easier? Only 31 rushing yards.
That's a great point. Probably a bit of both, right?
Yeah.
LSU played great defense. But yeah, when you only run for 31 total yards, you become completely one-dimensional, so pass-heavy. Especially against a defense that loves to blitz like LSU did. It makes you predictable. Clemson couldn't establish any physical presence on the O-line. It was a huge missed opportunity for them, put all the pressure on Klubnik, and LSU just feasted.
Okay, so beyond those huge games, week 1 still had other interesting stuff. Penn State made a big statement, right? 46-11 over Nevada. Drew Aller looked really clean, 22 of 26. Good rushing attack. Tough D with guys like Dennis Sutton.
Yeah, that performance, combined with Texas losing, vaulted Penn State right up to number 2 in the AP poll. Suddenly people are asking, wait, are they maybe the best team in the country right now?
Yeah.
It shows that sometimes just dominant, clean execution makes a bigger splash than a messy win in a big game.
We also saw Texas Tech blow out Arkansas Pine Bluff 47-0, showing off that roster they spent $30 million on in transfers. Ole Miss looked good. Lane Kiffin's offense still cooking, up 56-7 on Georgia State. Austin Simmons threw for 341 and 3 TDs. And Georgia debut Gunnar Stockton at QB, described as gritty. A Stetson Bennett 2.0 looks solid. And that freshman Zachariah Branch looks explosive. So even the blowouts told us something, didn't they?
Absolutely. Texas Tech's portal spending, clearly paying off right away. Shows how fast you can rebuild. Ole Miss, yep, offense is still dangerous under Kiffin. No surprise there. And Georgia, yeah, it was an easier opponent. But seeing Stockton look comfortable and Branch flash like that confirms they're reloading, not rebuilding. You always watch those new pieces.
Okay, looking ahead just a bit, 2 big ones still left from this opening weekend slate. First, Sunday night, the classic Catholics versus Kings, number 6 Notre Dame versus number 10 Miami. What are the key things to watch there?
Well, for Miami, you've got Carson Beck, the transfer from Georgia. He's expected to really thrive in Shannon Dawson's vertical passing game. They think the O-line's better, new receivers. This is a huge early test for that offensive identity. Notre Dame, though, they're starting a true freshman QB, C.J. Carr. First college starts. Wow. So they'll probably lean heavily on that run game, right? Jeremiah Love, Jerian Price, they were great last year, combined for 1,800 yards, 24 TDs. And Notre Dame's defense led the nation in turnovers. So strength on strength, maybe. Huge pressure on Miami's coach, Mario Cristobal. Miami's never won the ACC since joining way back in 2004. And their schedule gets tough. They need this one.
Then Monday night, this is kind of wild, TCU versus North Carolina. Why? Bill Belichick's college coaching debut. Belichick, 73 years old, signs a 5-year deal with UNC, a basketball school. What's the thinking here? His team lost 50 guys to the portal, gained 40. Most people think they'll be kind of average.
It really is one of the strangest, most intriguing stories of the year, isn't it? Belichick at UNC. The challenge is just massive. Integrating all those new players, putting in his system at a place with a totally different football culture. Maybe the expectation of being middling actually helps, lowers the pressure. But for Belichick, you got to think it's about proving he can still build and win, even with all the unique challenges of college football today, especially that portal chaos. This feels less about winning a title right away and more about, can the master adapt to this totally new game?
Okay, so let's try and connect all these dots. We look at the bigger picture. It's amazing how fast things change. Compare Phil Steele's preseason top 10. Ohio State 1, Texas 2, Oregon 3, Georgia 4, Penn State 5. Now look after week 1, Ohio State still 1, but Penn State jumps to 2. LSU's 3, Georgia 4, Oregon 5, Texas drops way down. What does that huge immediate shift tell us about early results versus preseason hype?
It just underscores how incredibly reactive everything is, right? The impact is immediate and pretty dramatic. Preseason polls, Heisman odds, they're fun speculation, but the actual results, the market, whether it's Vegas or the AP voters, it recalibrates instantly, brutally sometimes. One game, one bad performance, and the whole story gets rewritten. Creates this like super volatile environment where suddenly week 1 feels like a playoff game for some teams and players.
So what does this all really mean for you listening for the season? Week 1 really highlights that immense pressure on young QBs, right? How dominant defenses can shut down height, how fast Heisman talk shifts, but maybe the expanded playoff gives teams like Texas a little more breathing room, a mulligan for an early stumble.
Absolutely. That playoff format changes the calculation, for sure. An early loss isn't necessarily fatal anymore. We also have to talk about the portal, the coaching changes. Belichick at UNC, Malzahn's impact at FSU, Texas Tech spending big. Those off-field factors are clearly shaping teams right from the jump. This level of fluidity, of constant change, it's just going to define college football moving forward. Every week could bring a major shift.
Yeah, after this whirlwind week 1, the landscape looks different, dramatically reshaped, and it's only week 1. Sets the stage for a really wild season.
So here's something to think about. Given how quickly perceptions, rankings, even Heisman odds just got flipped upside down after one single game, what does that tell you about the real value, the staying power of all that preseason hype? How much weight should we actually put on these early, sometimes really jarring results when we try to project how good a team might be over the whole season? It's that classic battle of gut feeling versus the hard evidence right in front of you.
Keep diving in with us as the season unfolds, because if week 1 taught us anything, it's that the story is definitely just beginning.